Okay, it's 2 o'clock, so why don't we go ahead and start the meeting. We'll call it to order. Roll call, Mayor Pro-tem Pam Plaza.
Pam Plaza
Pam.
here.
Thank you, Pam.
Yeah.
Assemblyman Bill Riker.
Bill Riker here.
Assemblymember Pat Huddleston.
Pat Huddleston here.
And Assemblymember Jim Blair.
He's
Jim
not going to be here today.
Yeah, that's right. I think someone did mention to me, Jim had said he wasn't going to make it. And this is Mayor Don Topper, so I'm here. We have a quorum, so we can go ahead and get started with the meeting. We need a motion to approve the agenda.
I motion to approve the agenda. Pam Plaza.
Thank you, Pam. Do we have a second?
Bill Riker, I'll second.
Thanks, Bill. Is there any discussion on this? If none, then I'll go ahead and take a vote. Mayor Pro-tem Pam Plaza.
Aye. Pam Plaza.
Assemblyman Bill Riker.
Bill Riker, aye.
Assemblymember Pat Huddleston.
Huddleston, aye.
And this is Don Topper, and I vote aye. Motion passes. Agenda is approved. There is no old business. So new business, mayor's announcements. Okay, mayor's announcements. We noticed about 2 weeks ago, that the number loaded in the budget for at the State House was low. So I called Dave Abbey about it, and quite candidly, it was a human error. They intended to put us at 150. His analyst left, resigned, and he didn't catch it. And when I found out about it, Pam Plaza and I went up to the Capitol and met with Senator Shindo. And Benny tried to get it updated, but George Munoz said, nope, they've already voted. He said they're not changing anything except typos at this point. Now, when we did meet with Benny, he did commit to us getting it back to 150 next year. So we should be restored next year to the 150. He did give us some insight on our grants. We're not going to, we did put in a grant request for $12 million for the water lines. That's not going to happen this year, at least not through the state. And just to let everybody know, we did get the final budgetary proposal from TLC and the engineering firm they brought out here. And it came in at right at $18 million to deal with the water, sewer, wastewater pumps. So at this stage, the next step forward on that would be to try and seek federal funds ourselves. And I'm going to reach out. We've got the proposals. We've got everything we need pretty much. I'm going to reach out to Congresswoman Ledger or Fernandez and try and get her to help us with her tool. When I met with her down in Algodones a few months ago, we had talked briefly about water and wastewater, and she said she was going to create a tool to help connect communities with federal funds. So for us, that'll be the next step, is to go that route. Let's see. Oh, and while we were in there talking to Benny, he did give us some insights on what got approved with capital for us. He's giving us $50,000 towards the next item, which was on our priority list, which was the music pavilion for the library. And he told me that he believed Derek was putting in 20. Now we need to get confirmation on all of this, but if that's so, with the $15,000 that we've already received from Commissioner Brook from the county towards it, we will be fully funded to be able to build this in the next fiscal year. This will be nice. We will be able to get rid of the stage and the tents. It was getting much more difficult each year to do that because, quite candidly, we could get fewer and fewer volunteers, and you really need at least 6 to safely do that. 8 or more would be preferable. and it is all getting pretty old. So I don't think we'll have it in by the 4th of July, but it will be top notch. One of the criteria we put together with a team, 3 years ago when we started this process on Capitol. We put together a team with the library, the art group, our maintenance person who was Justin at the time, and put together a requirements list. Included in that, this thing will have speakers, it will be electrified, it will have a sidewalk connecting it to the other sidewalk, so moving equipment, you can do it all on rollers. It's going to have a concrete base, it'll be heavy gauge steel, powder coated, so it'll be very low maintenance, and it should last the rest of the lifespan of this town. So that's really good, and we'll probably, we talked a little bit about it in the office today, that my guess is we may actually have a little bit more funding than was necessary because of, the extra money we got from Commissioner Brook. So I think they're already working on some proposals, and we'll need to get that team together to look at what do we want to do. We could certainly use some good seating out there. There was some discussion about maybe building into it a screen, so that the library can go back once we get to the point and do outdoor movie night. It'll be a good opportunity, and hopefully coming out of COVID, this will be something that can help bring the community back together, being able to do some things like that. And we're also I think we'll be able to afford to put a PA system in it. And we really need that because the last quite a few years since I've been dealing with it, we've been borrowing Paul Mitchell's PA system for events. If we didn't have a band, that we could borrow their PA system. And I think Paul's moving from what I understand. So I guess it's time we need to take care of ourselves. The only other item I did get and can share with you is I did also go to the county commissioners last meeting and got a chance to chat with all of the commissioners, but more specifically, I talked to Wayne Johnson, our county our county manager, about funding and our COVID relief request fund that we've submitted. And I went over and kind of brought him up to speed on the fact that we may again be short this year. But at that time we were working on it, but I told him we really need the funds. I think they're going to make a decision on the allocations in April. I don't think we'll get the whole grant, but if we got half of it, that would be really good. And it will come in about the time of the beginning of the next fiscal year. So if we get what we requested for the town, which was $100,000, if we even got half that, and I do think we may get all of it because I told him that had to be top priority. We should be in very good shape going into next year, and we can even replenish possibly some of Raymond James, the emergency fund, from what we had to pull out of it 2 years ago. So that's my announcements. Let's see, next item up, approval of the assembly meeting minutes. Yes.
Don, can I ask you a couple questions about your report?
Sure.
Okay, first one is, you said we didn't get the whole 150,000 from the state. How much
No,
did
not
we
120. I'm sorry, I 120. They
120.
pushed us across flat from last year. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that. Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
and as
also,
far as the, go ahead.
let me clarify one thing also, or add to it. After we finished talking with Senator Shindo, Pam and I went over, and we actually kind of got lucky because about the time we got over to the DFA building, the LFC building, we ran into Dave Abbey in the hallway. Dave is the director of the Legislative Financial Committee. So he's the one that loads or that decides what numbers go in to be seen by the legislature. David, we talked briefly, and he was apologetic, I think. That's when he was telling us about his analyst leaving him. So, David, I said, look, we just need to go forward with it. He said, I agree. And he said, I will put you in for 150 next year. So both Benny and Dave are in alignment on getting us back to where we were at. I'm sorry to interrupt. You had one more question?
No, that's okay. Yeah, on the pavilion, does the original plan include lighting? That might be something that would be, okay.
It does, and it also includes conduit into the building so that we can have electricity to it without extension cords anymore. And we'll be able to keep the PA equipment in the building, run the wires through the conduit into the building, and we can have speakers that can mount up there under the pavilion. Great. Now that was it. This should be a very top-notch item for us. The person who originally mentioned the manufacturer was Dick McIntyre. From when he knew of him when he was in Los Alamos, and we went over there and looked at them, and these things are really nice. It's what Los Alamos uses in all of their parks, and as well as White Rocks parks. Okay, approval of the assembly meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from last month?
Huddleston moves to approve.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Plaza second.
Okay. Pam or Bill? And just pick one. Is there any discussion on the last meeting minutes?
I just have one thing, but Don.
Yes.
I wasn't excused from that meeting. It says excused up there for Pam Plaza Mayor. Yeah, I wasn't.
That's
excused.
right.
I was
Let's
there.
correct. Okay, let's correct that.
That's the only correction I could see. Yeah, I think it got carried over from the one before. But yeah, that's it.
Well, you're lucky, Pam. When I show up to the meetings, there is no excuse. So that said, let's have a vote on it. Pam, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Bill?
Pam Plaza.
Bill Riker votes aye.
Pat Huddleston?
Huddleston, aye.
And this is Don Topper. I vote aye. The motion carries. The minutes are approved from the last month's meeting. Next up is Resolution 202201. It's an amendment.
Okay.
I think Pam's going to read this. Just to clarify this is correcting my mistake. I was going off what I remembered us doing when we hired John. I was in error on it, so this corrects that. So Pam, would you
I'll read
it to us all, please?
Yep. Town-Cochiti-Lake, Resolution 2022-01, amended. A resolution concerning the appointment of Andrew Chavez as Fire/EMS Chief, whereas this resolution is being introduced as a measure for the preservation of the public peace, health, and safety, whereas Andrew Chavez is employed by the town of Cochiti-Lake as EMT firefighter, effective January 27th, 2022, at the current annual salary of $999.78 through fiscal year 2021-2022, with a provision to reassess the salary in June 2022 for fiscal year 2022-2023, beginning July 1st, 2022. The salary for this position is funded through Fire and EMS revenues, duly adopted this 24th day of February 2022 by the Assembly of the Town of Cochiti-Lake at the meeting thereof, at which a quorum was present.
All right, thank you, Pam. Do we have a motion to approve this?
Bill Riker.
I'll motion to. Go ahead. Go ahead, Bill.
No problem. You can second.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a second?
Who was
Bill.
my motion, please? Bill and
Bill Riker.
second?
Bill Riker moved it, Pam seconded it.
And Pam Plaza second, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Hey, is there any discussion on the motion?
I have one question on the wording, and that's the word is employed by the town of Cochiti Lake. He really isn't a town employee, is he?
Yes, he is.
We
Yes,
pay
he
his
is a town
salary.
employee, but his salary is paid through EMS and fire revenues. It's
So
very
he gets
confusing,
It is.
but
It
it
is.
is correct that he is a town employee.
Yeah.
So he gets benefits through the town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Believe me, we've debated this several hours of it over the last couple of weeks, trying to find out. Yeah. So
It-
that said,
it is-
pardon? Go ahead.
I said it's unclear, and there seems to be some conflicting wording in the charter. Oh, I'm not real.
Oh.
I mean, we just need to carry on.
Yeah. Yeah, at this point, the main thing is getting him in there at this point and keeping it clean
yeah.
and legit, and working with the fire board on it. I don't think anybody, including anybody that's on the fire board, has any question Drew's the right guy. So, and actually, when I was up at the county commissioner's court, I walked out with Eric Masterson. He is the Sandoval County Fire Chief. He had heard about it, and he was very complimentary. In fact, he was telling me that he wants his wildland fire crew people to work very closely with what Drew's got going on here, because, like I say, they highly respect Drew. So that was actually good to hearing that from him. Okay, so
I have no quibble with the personnel. It's just the wording is what's unclear in the charter about.
You should sit down and read. You should really sit down and read the entire charter. It's somewhat confusing and very entertaining. I'm still waiting on the grocery store, hotel, and horse stables.
Right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And yes. That said, it is what it is. When Drew and I went down and met with the Pueblo governor a couple of months ago, Larry Herrera, there was a gentleman there that was from the Pueblo that was talking about all these things in the charter, and that we needed to get a police force and stuff like this. And, I'll be honest, I was pretty candid. I just said, look, that charter was written for a town of 30 to 40,000 people. It was written for a town that never was and never will be. And I said, if you want to point out there's all kinds of stuff in there. I said, I think at this point, we're probably all better off figuring out what works and going forward. And I'll be honest with you, the governor, Larry Herrera, was absolutely nodding in concurrence with that. We could bury ourselves to death trying to go through and rationalize the charter, but it is what it is. So we'll work with it. That said, let's go ahead and vote on that. Pam, how do you vote?
Pam Plaza votes aye.
Bill Riker?
Bill Riker, aye.
Pat Huddleston?
Huddleston votes aye.
And this is Don Topper. I vote aye. The motion passes. Move on to the next item, Treasurer's Report. Marsha Perkins. Show me the money.
With lots of extra zeros.
Yeah.
We all wish that was the case. Okay, can everybody see it?
Not yet.
Okay. Taxes collected as of the end of January for the current fiscal year, $51,396.02, which is 88% of the budget, For prior year taxes, penalties, and interest, $5,647.28, which is 75% of that budget, totaling $57,043.30, which is 86% of the total budget. The cash balance at the end of the month was $432,582.14. To date, we have paid DKM half of what their contract is. So it's $268,060.08. The Raymond James account has a balance of $426,275.36. The EMS cash balance is $79,002.40. The ambulance revenue collected through the end of January is $61,821.87. And the wildland fire funds collected was $67,180.63. The balance for the fire department is $73,363.41. That's it for the financial news. I did another COVID count. I did that on Wednesday. It was 28 cases on Wednesday, but I looked again today just before the meeting and it's 29. So another case has popped up. So I know that everybody's watching those numbers pretty closely, but please continue to use caution. Remember to wear a mask in public and observe social distancing. And that's it for me.
Well, Marsha, I got a question. On the collection rates, I know you don't have a long history there, but it sounds like 88% and 75%, or total of 80% like that. At this early of the year, is that ahead of schedule?
I think it's done really well this year. People have been really on the ball with getting their tax payments in. So yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. So go back to the agenda.
Mhm.
Oh God!
So I guess Bruce is the agenda now.
Did it come up?
It's up.
Okay.
Okay, so the next is
Rope in. No.
you got to be careful when you sleep. You draw attention. So the next assembly meeting is March 24th, 2022. And it'll again be a Zoom meeting. I will mention one other thing that some will find amusing, but on behalf of the town, I did congratulate Jay Block on getting engaged a few weeks ago. Jay is one of our county commissioners. He's also a Republican candidate for governor of the state right now. But that was rather amusing. I told him that I had never seen him smile so big as in the photo. He told me that wasn't a smile, it was a grimace. He had just paid for the engagement ring. So let's see. For the good of the order, does anyone have anything they'd like to say? Bruce, weren't you raising your hand a while ago? Okay, I don't guess there's anything for the good of the order. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Huddleston, motion to adjourn. I move to adjourn.
Okay. Pat Huddleston moved to adjourn. Do we have a second? Bill?
Bill Riker, I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. Let's vote on it. Pam Plaza?
Pam Plaza votes aye.
Bill Riker?
Bill Riker, aye.
Pat Huddleston?
Huddleston, aye.
And this is Don Topper. I vote aye. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everybody. It was a good, concise meeting. So
Thank you.
everyone have a good
You have a great
weekend.
day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you. You all too.